Welcome to the Disruptor Network podcast.
Welcome back to the Disruptors Network. We have Leslie Polizzotto here today, who is the CEO and co-founder of the Doughnut Project. She's a former attorney, which I'm very, very interested to hear the transition here, and an entrepreneur. And she has a great story. She's right across the river from me in New York City. So welcome, Leslie.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Thank you for having me. I always love telling my journey and the story of the Doughnut Project.
So, you have a really, really interesting story. And I did some research on you this morning. I went through some podcasts you went through. And first of all, congratulations on all the success you've had with the Doughnut Project. I mean, it's from what I've read and seen everywhere else, it's one of the top donuts, in the world at this point right now.
Yes, it's very, I'm very proud too. And it's just nice. I'm very, very, I always say we have the best donuts, but it's nice when other people say it.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Now I have to make my way over there because I'm just learning about everything. I kind of feel out of touch that I don't know more about it at this point, to be totally honest with you, because I just reading about it. I mean, first of all, you're open 5 days a week now?
Correct.
Yes, and the lines around the block. So
yes.
that's a good problem. And it's
yes.
part of the questions I'm going to get to. But how did you go from attorney, and you were like, it wasn't like it was completely outside of food. You weren't in this business at all, like into a really niche food business.
Well, I was a huge foodie. I was an attorney practicing law in California, and my husband had business in New York, so I would come with him on his trips to New York and work out of my firm's office. And I would have everything scheduled, like where we were going to dinner, where we were going to lunch. I love going out to lunch is my favorite thing to do. Like, it's my hobby. I say I'm a professional luncher. But so, I fell in love with New York, and I wanted to move here. And so we were just coming back and forth a lot. And I met my former business partner, who was a bartender at Italy. And he told me he wanted to open a donut shop. And I pulled out my phone and I showed him all these pictures of donuts that I would take pictures of when someone would bring donuts into the law firm, and how happy they made me and how I loved them, and that I was trying to move to New York. And then if I did, I would, maybe help him out with the shop. I convinced my husband to move to New York, which ended up being so much better for his business anyways. And I, planned on taking the bar. I took it, passed it in New York, because I had to do everything all over again.
Which is not easy, by the way. That's
No, literally 4 months of my life, I've studied 10 hours a day for the entire day, 4 months of my life. 2 months for California, 2 months for New York. So, I had intended on, just practicing with my firm that I was with, and I took the bar, passed it, and they didn't have any work for me. So I was like, oh, dang, what am I going to do? So I just started dabbling in other things. And my husband was like, what about that donut shop thing? Why don't you help that guy with that? And I was like, that's a great idea. So, I started meeting with, who's no longer with the business now, but my business partner, and we wrote a business plan. We started raising capital, friends and family capital. And then my firm called me and they said, we have a job for you. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to stay on this path. So it was a huge decision. But I just took the leap. Granted, I had the ability to take that chance. Not everybody has that opportunity. I had a very supportive husband who was encouraging me to be my own boss. He's had his own business and thought I would be really good at it. So I took the leap. It took very long from meeting to opening the shop. It took like 2 years. So it didn't happen overnight. And we opened in October of 2015 in the West Village.
So, a couple of things there. Deciding to go 100%, and even having the financial backing, deciding to go 100% on something, which I think I always say is what I feel like you need to do. I think if you don't give 100% to something, that you're never going to get 100% of the results you want to get. So I applaud you for doing that. That's not easy, even if you have the financial backing, because you were going away from something that you had already. But you chose one of the most expensive markets in the world to go into with a niche business, where I don't know the stats, but I'm sure you do. Restaurant and food in New York City is stuff that fails every single day because
85%.
Yeah, 85%. So
Yes.
So. What made you go into that market, and what made you believe that your product was good enough to last and sustain it?
Well, I think it's a little bit of being naive and I always have achieved any goal I've ever set. So I think it was one of these things where, sure, I can do this. I can make it happen. And neither one of us had owned our own businesses. And I mean, we were pretty stupid, I think. The odds were completely against us. But what was unique is that our take on donut flavors, and we've always, balanced our flavor profiles and taken inspiration from food and cocktails. So we've always had like alcohol glazes, and we use sesame seeds and bacon and ricotta cheese and beets and olive oil. And so we kind of took the donut that you can get on a street cart for $2 and elevated it to something more sophisticated that grown-ups actually want to eat. We were invited to a donut competition when we were 3 months old, and we took our beet and ricotta donut and we won the competition. Wow. And so that we were like, wow, people really do like us. And then everything kind of changed when we were 4 months old, when we introduced the everything donut, and literally my life changed overnight.
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of the tipping point for your business, where
yes.
that exploded. And which is another point, like you really are proof that social clout is important, because you really exploded your business through social media, essentially.
Oh, if there wasn't social media, I probably would not be here. My product is very visual. My shop is very visual. I'm very consistent. I handle all the social media. I take the pictures. I write the content, everything.
And it's great, by the way. You do a great job with your social media, by the way. It's very it makes you hungry just going there. But the presentation of it is really, really good. So I applaud you for that as well, because I put a lot into social media, and your page is great.
Thank you. And I just think we kind of it was a perfect storm. It was when food mashups were happening and food on Instagram was becoming a thing. Granted, this was 2015. Now it's, every day it happens, but that was a kind of a novelty at that time. And literally it was an Instagram post of the donut, the everything donut, that caught the eye of Gothamist, which is a food lifestyle website brand. And they, we got a phone call in the shop, and they were like, we just saw this post on Instagram about this donut. Can you tell us about it? And so did a phone interview for 5 minutes. That afternoon, the story was posted on Gothamist, and we were like, yay, we've got press, and that's great. And then we thought that was it. Literally the next morning when we woke up, we were at the shop, and it was like crickets. No, we were 4 months old.
Yeah.
How many donuts are we going to make today? 50, 100? What do you think? And our phone started ringing off the hook, and it was like ABC News, NBC News, the Wall Street Journal, every TV show, Kelly and Michael, Rachel Ray, The Chew, everybody wanted the donut. And it was just like a switch had been flipped, and we were all of a sudden in newspapers all across the globe. We've been on TV shows in Japan and in Belgium and France, you name it, we've done it. And it was just, I don't think that could happen today. I think that time frame is over. And we just got so much more followers and press and recognition just because, and it was all free. It was just people inquiring and the Insider, we had a video from the Insider that had over 1 million views. That stuff doesn't happen now unless you're a Kardashian or something.
Yeah.
So, we were just very fortunate. And, but you can have all the hype you want. You have to have a good product, and we have an excellent product, and that's why we're still around.
That was my next question attached to that. So how do you stop yourself from trying to create another viral moment that maybe takes away some of the stuff you're putting into your product to make it so good? Because it's hard to keep yourself from that when you have such a viral moment like that, right?
Right.
Stop yourself from doing that again. Maybe trying to replicate that.
You can never replicate it. Like I said, I just don't think with algorithms and how things are now, I just don't think that was a moment in time. I don't think you could ever, recreate that. And it was just an iconic situation where it was the famous New York bagel, but we made a donut. And so everybody it blew people's minds. Now I think people are desensitized to anything, basically. You could do anything. But when we're doing a donut, it's not, what's gonna, go viral. That's not how we think. It usually is originating from a collaboration or a brand partnership. So we're using somebody's product, so we build around that. Or we try to create a flavor from a dessert or a nostalgic food item that you had as a child, that, like grandma's banana pudding or something like that. We try to build off of either pop culture, nostalgia, just those types of things we take inspiration from to create our flavors. It's not, let's put a sparkler on it, or let's throw gold on it. It's not like that. It's very, we always are considering how it's going to taste and making sure that it's not just a sugar bomb.
Yeah, I had read about that you had grown a lot through collaborations, which I think is I tell people all the time that's an amazing way to grow. Even with that, I mean, did you go after specific partners, or was more people approaching you about trying to create a donut for to promote their product? Like, how did you go about the collaborations you've done?
We have always been approached. Very rarely do I approach anyone. It originated, we kind of became known for food and cocktail inspired donuts. And so I started getting reached out by alcohol brands to create a donut for National Rum Day or, Apple Cider Day. Our first partnership was with Angry Orchard.
Yeah.
And we've worked with them many times. And all these brands have PR teams. So PR teams are doing press releases. They're, getting influencers to come in and try the donut. And so I was getting all this press and stuff for free. I've not spent one penny on press.
Awesome.
I know. So it just kind of started to build up itself. Then, food brands and wines and cheese companies and Marvel and, you name it, Belvedere Vodka and cosmetic companies, and everybody wants us to create a donut for them, either for a product launch or just for a national day or just to bring awareness to their brand. Now that we have so many followers right now, I mean, it's not a lot, but it's 153,000 followers. And we get a lot of eyeballs. Our pictures garner a lot of interaction and reach. And so people reach out to us because we're basically kind of like an influencer in that respect. It just happens to just be our market is donuts, but we promote other people's food products or alcohol products through our website by creating donuts.
That's great. Part of the interview I think I had listened to most recently is it was kind of in the middle of the pandemic. And I had heard that, you had closed the location because it just didn't make sense at the time. You had focused on one location. And something you said really stuck with me, because I really tell people all the time that you can't just be in your business. You have to work on your business. So it's not like if you're just stuck in your business every single day working on things that you're not working on the business. But you actually said the opposite of the interview, and I found it interesting. You said that you were too much working on the business and not enough working in the business. And could you talk a little bit about that and like how a shift in mindset maybe because of the pandemic, changed maybe your strategy on go forward?
Exactly. Before the pandemic, I was working with this company that was going to get us, to grow to other states and help us get into theme parks and explode us all over the country. And, in your mindset, you think bigger is better, but it's really not. The pandemic happened. So before the pandemic, I had 2 locations and 25 employees. I wasn't making a penny. And I was miserable. It was a nightmare. I had to depend on so many people to do a crappy job because that's what they did. You know what I mean? Because I was out and my business partner at the time, we were trying to grow the business. We've got to, go to these other states, and that was all we focused on. So the operations suffered tremendously. The pandemic happened, and it was a blessing for me and my business. I closed the other location because we made everything down in the West Village, and we would drive it in a freaking van through the middle of Manhattan 3 times a day. The driver doesn't show up. He gets kind of in a little accident. The donuts fall over. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I closed the second location. I lay off everyone except our head pastry chef, who has the most value because she can do anything. She can do any job that we have. And we just started making donuts, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day, just see what would happen. Stayed open the whole time. And we just exploded. Like, people would come from miles and miles away, like Connecticut, Boston, New Jersey, deep in Long Island, every weekend to get our weekend specials. And that was like their sense of normalcy. It was like they looked forward to it. It was their only way to get out of the house. And it was like a huge event for them, and they loved it. And so we just kept growing and growing and growing. And my business partner, he had to move back to Seattle because his family had already moved back there. And so it was just me and my pastry chef, and I brought back on 2 other pastry chefs that I had laid off. And I have 3 professional pastry chefs. This is their career, and I pay them well, and I treat them awesome. And we're never been better. I've never been more profitable. I actually just did my first distribution back to initial investors.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, it's because it sounds like a lot of adversity too, right? It's like that you kind of got through the last 12 months, but you probably learned more. You probably was on turbo speed
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the efficiencies. I mean, what me and my three girls put out on a Saturday morning is what I used to pay 15 people to do.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
And it's just, I wasn't really overseeing the operations. And so now that I am, I was like, what was the big deal? Like, why do we have all these employees? And why did we allow horrible employees to work for us? And, the route is to have professionals, people who have gone to culinary school, and this is what they care about, and this is their life, and they support the brand. And I mean, it's just, I changed the business model. I mean,
you evolved. Yeah. It's funny.
yeah, we evolved.
Like I said, I've read some stuff and listened to some stuff that you did probably about a year ago. And just even from that, I can tell your mindset has changed, because at that point you were like, well, I'm good at this and he's good at that. And
Yeah.
It works. But now I feel like you've gotten yourself so in the business at this point now. And I think that's what it is sometimes. Sometimes we overhype what something is, and then when we get in it, we're like, oh, I know how to do this. This is more normal. This is
Exactly. Exactly. I'm like, why did we ever tolerate a bad job? This is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I didn't go to culinary school, and we've, I have a great team that's, we work really hard, and it's like on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's like dinner service at the most popular restaurant. I mean, that's how it is. And there's no goofing off. It is work, work, work. And then I haven't modified my hours. I'm literally open 25 hours a week. That is it. And I've never made more money.
That's great. And it's funny, you figured out, because you probably realized there was a lot of wasted time too. With the place was
Yes. Why pay someone to sit around to make what? $20 after 3:00? Like, who cares? I'm like, no, I have an A team. We all work together 5 days, and we have 2 days off. Mondays and Tuesdays, they have the day off. I still have everything else to do. I have to pay bills. I have to, do the payroll. I have to do podcasts. I have to do these types of things. So, but it's what I love. There's nothing I'd rather do. What am I going to do? Just how much Netflix can you watch?
Well, I think what you did more than anything, which is probably the best thing you could have done for yourself, is that you created a high demand and a low supply for your business, and now it's become like almost like a cult thing. And that's the stuff that's the stuff that's long lasting. Like that's stuff that lasts forever. I feel like if you can manage to create that, which is very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean the weekend specials, like I said, they're either a partnership. Like this weekend, we're working with Gosling's Rum out of Bermuda again. That we've worked with them many times, so we'll have that partnership collaboration going on this weekend. The following weekend, I have a collaboration with Port City Pretzels out of New Hampshire. I don't even like pretzels that much, and they have the most awesome pretzels in the world. So I have it calendared out, like for at least a month and a half, either partnerships, collaborations, or we are creating something that we want, we create, So we have a little list of everything we want to do. And so every weekend we have new specials, every single weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I can tell why you love it, because you keep it interesting. It's like,
yes.
Oh, this is a new collaboration. We've never done this before. This is something cool we've done. We've never done this before. And you're creating experiences for people on the weekends where they come in and it's like a real experience for them. So it's like, I can tell why you're into it.
100%. I mean, I have people who come every Saturday or every Sunday. I mean, it's fitness instructor, CrossFit trainers. Like I got every crowd demographic you can think of. Like we have a lot of people who are really into fitness that come to us, and because our product is good. If you're gonna cheat, if you're gonna eat a treat, it better be good. And our donuts are creative, delicious. They're worth the price. They're fun. It's an awesome environment, and the people love it.
So now, because I know you changed your model a little bit right now. So does your model, you think in the future, in the next 6 months or the next 6 years, does that include for you expanding? Does it include more stores? Does it include something else? Like, is there something in your brain that you're thinking about right now that you want to do?
Well, we license our brand, and we have a licensee location that's been open in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia for 2 years already. Okay. They are getting ready to open their second location. I actually am in discussions with a couple other countries that want to bring our brand to them. So internationally, I like to license the brand. I have a really big interest of a couple cities of people wanting to bring us to those cities. So slowly but surely, I will start expanding domestically, but it's never ever going to be like a Krispy Kreme or a Dunkin' Donuts where we're in every city. We are a boutique, very high-end donut shop, and I'm never going to sell it out so that it turns into something else.
Yeah.
It can work in other places, but in cities that have a certain demographics, but it's not going to be on every corner in every city. I don't want it to be, because there's no way, if you get some money and they want to turn it into that, I'm not going to do it, because I want it to stay what it truly is.
Yeah.
And it's very unique, and I'm not trying to make $1 billion. I'm very proud of the brand. So in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how to grow it without changing it.
No, I understand. Is there something that you looked at as an entrepreneur that you modeled the business after, or you used as some kind of guideline? Was there anything that you did in building this that helped you, that you felt like get here? Or was it just so niche that it was just learning every single step of the way?
We learned every step of the way. I mean, of course, we looked at other donut shops on how, they have donut racks, or, they do this. I mean, we knew nothing. Like, it was insane, like how we even survived. But we figured out the basics, but we always turned it up with how unique we were and the quality of our ingredients, and also the hospitality component of our business. It's not like people walk in and you're like, what do you want? It's people walk in, there's cool music, there's street art on the walls, there's chandeliers. It's, we got cool Star Wars movie on the TV, and we talk to you, how you doing? Where are you guys from? Like, it's all about hospitality and good product. Those two pieces. And we have really cool merchandise. People love our t-shirts. It's those three things is what make us different.
I was going to mention that. I saw the t-shirts and some of the pictures, and they look great. Like, you guys did a great job with the t-shirt. So
yeah,
I'm sure you're selling that stuff too, which is awesome.
No, I know. I wish I could have half my shop be a retail clothing store, but it's a tiny shop.
What advice would you give to somebody who was looking to get into, maybe not your business, but like, something niche-wise, product-wise, that whether it's New York City or someplace else, like, what steps would you give somebody advice to take before they did it?
Well, first of all, you have to really like the product, service, widget, whatever it is that you're going to be selling, because this is going to become your life. You're going to eat, breathe, and sleep that product constantly. It's all you're going to think about is your business. Whether you're on vacation, whether you're out with dinner, it's always on your mind. And you're thinking, how can I make it better? Oh, this would be a good donut, or whatever. So you have to really like what it is that you're trying to do. And then initially, I think you really need to partner with people who have skills that you don't have, because I was an attorney. My business partner was a bartender. He was like kind of the class clown, and I was the corporate structure. And so we kind of melded into a good team. If we were both like me, it probably wouldn't have worked. If we were both like him, it certainly wouldn't have worked. So you got to have a team that's well-rounded and have different skill sets. If everybody's the same, then it's probably not going to work. And then you have to really plan for expenses. Like, we were so undercapitalized when we opened, it was ridiculous. Like, our renovation was supposed to take 3 months. It took 6 months. We had 4 free months rent. So we were paying rent for 2 months before we even opened. Like, we were in the hole, like big time hole. And it just
out of the gate, which is you. So you started behind people to begin with.
Yes. I didn't take a salary for a year. Like, it was crazy. So if you're going to start in a food business, you have to really like it. And it can't be just like what everybody else is doing. If we made chocolate donuts and vanilla, we would have never made it. Sure. Especially in New York City, you have to be unique. You have to have something that makes you special. I mean, how many restaurants do you see that have a steak, a chicken, a fish, and whatever, and they go out with the wind? Like,
right.
You have to have a point of view, or there has to be something special about you and our ingredients that we use that most people wouldn't think to put on a donut, sweet and savory and spicy and stuff like that. Like, it made us unique, and that's why we lasted and why we are successful.
Yeah, and specifically because I know where you are. There's some other niche businesses around there too. Like, it's like you're in a tough market. New York City's very, very small, but there's also a lot packed into those small areas.
There's a lot of competition. There's ice cream, there's cookie dough, there's croissants, there's, you name it. There's so much competition for that treat. So
and it's always people coming too. So it's like you have to always be, which is great. What I think about your product is that you're pretty much always changing.
Yes.
You're always evolving.
Right. Well, we found that we have to have some core flavors that people can consistently come in and get, because if we try to take something away, people don't like that. So we have a core menu. We have seasonal flavors, like right now it's blueberry lavender. We're getting ready to transition into some other, late summer flavor. And then we have the weekend specials. So there's something always there. There's something that's kind of around for a little bit. And then there's something brand new, and you better get it this weekend or you're never going to get it.
It's gonna be gone. Yeah, it's gonna be gone. How do you, is there like a limit of donuts you could buy when you come in? Like is there any like rules? No rules?
Sometimes on weekend specials, we'll have a limit of 2. Those are typically when it's very labor intensive and we have a high demand already. Like we do pre-orders, and sometimes we'll have 50 pre-orders. I'll have like $1,700 worth of donuts sold before I even open the door.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so we kind of have to monitor the demand, and it all is kind of contingent on the post. Like I post every Wednesday at 5 p.m. to announce what our A side of the record weekend special is going to be, the top bill. And I know within the first 20 minutes of Instagram how well that donut's going to do. Like I can tell.
Just based off the pre-orders.
Yeah. Just off of the interaction on Instagram and whether pre-orders start coming in. Like it's really interesting. So, and then we usually introduce like a B-side weekend special just to kind of supplement on Thursday. And then people really start ordering because they want to know what that second one is. This last weekend, we only had one, and we had people DMing us saying, "What's the second one going to be? What's the second one going to be?" Oh, I'm sorry, it's only one this weekend.
Like I can't have it all week, can I? Like I gotta have something every week.
It's crazy. So yeah, people are they're trained, like they know review the post. This is what we're going to be doing, and so it's how I communicate with everyone is through our weekend, the Instagram posts and stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's awesome. You know what? I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs on here, and I'm in banking, so I'm in a completely different market, obviously. But like your enthusiasm comes through about your product, and I can always tell when it's a good product and/or business based off of the person I'm talking to and their enthusiasm around it. So, credit to you because I think that it's a hard business. You went through a hard time, and you're still very, very energetic and passionate about it, which I think is awesome.
Well, it's funny because people ask me which career is easier, being a lawyer or running a donut shop, because everybody thinks owning a donut shop is all fun and games.
Yeah.
They're equally as stressful, weirdly, but I get to have fun. We get to make people happy, and that's what donuts do. When people come in, they go, "I've been following you for a year, and I'm finally here. I can't wait." Like people come in and just tell us all the time such great stories, how excited they are and how they've been talking with their friend that they're coming this weekend. I mean, it's just, we make people happy. I mean, I was one of those people. I mean, people would bring donuts into the law firm I was working. It would like totally change the mood. It would make me happy. People would stand around, joke and talk, like it brought like this little kind of happiness to an otherwise mundane situation. And so that's what I like to do. I like to make people happy, and it's a lot more fun than being in a courtroom.
Yeah, the whole thing is that I think that but by having to change it every single week, it's like they're almost holding you accountable to be creative every single week, which is probably, it can be stressful, but it's also good. Like having someone that's holding you to a standard every single week, like probably pushes you. Yeah,
it pushes you. It keeps it exciting. I mean, if we just did the same thing all the time, I wouldn't like it as much. We get to be very creative. We work together. We test on Wednesdays. We're testing. Oh, this works, this doesn't work. Oh, listen, sometimes they work immediately, the donut, and sometimes they don't. We have to tweak it a little bit. So, it's fun to do the research and development, and, it's a creative outlet for me. I'm kind of have dual dimensions. I have the logical side of me, but I also have the, artistic side of me. My undergrad's in art history, and I've always been into art and creative things. So it's a way for me the Instagram page is my art project, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you do a great job of making it enticing to want to come in. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little format, and it's like just be consistent, and that's my format. I have 3 or 4 different kind of angles or
styles,
camera techniques that I use, and that's it. I probably could do way more with it, but I'm too busy, and I'm like, it works right now, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Stick with it. Yeah, it's working. Well, I think your story is awesome. I think I'll probably be there this weekend, just so you know, to get donuts. So
Let me know, DM me. I'll
yeah,
make sure
I
to get the
definitely
special.
will. And where can people? Are you at the Doughnut Project on Instagram? Is that the Instagram handle?
It's the Doughnut Project.
Okay.
Yeah, THE, and then donut is spelled out the correct way, not the short Dunkin' Donut way.
DOUGH.
Yes, it's the Doughnut Project. That is our Instagram handle. That is our website where you make pre-orders, or you can pre-order from Order Food on the Instagram page. But yeah, and we're in the West Village. It's very fun. There's wonderful restaurants. There's all kinds of exciting things happening in the West Village. It's an iconic neighborhood of New York. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Those are the hours. That's when you need to come, and because that's it.
Yeah, that's all you're gonna get. So get there early.
Yeah, it's all you're getting. It's funny. We do wedding. I'm doing donuts for weddings again. We have food tours every day that come through. That's started back up again. So the business is just growing with that kind of, activity. Tourists are coming to New York again.
Yeah.
So I'm already growing without doing anything because there's a bigger audience already. Last weekend we did so many massive amounts of donuts for weddings.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear your business is thriving as well. So on top of everything else, but your story is great. I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you. And you have a new fan, so I'll be
awesome. Awesome. Well, come see me. You're gonna love it.
And everybody else who's in New York or around New York or coming to New York can come visit for sure.
Definitely, you'll have a good time, and you'll have delicious donuts.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Take care. What an amazing podcast with Leslie with the Doughnut Project. It's a true story of entrepreneurship, the start and the beginning of a business, how that may change, how she used collaborations to explode her business, and how she had to pivot during COVID and totally change her model, shorten the days, put out a better product. It was great. And for anybody that's looking to start a business, especially in a niche market, this is something you want to listen to. If you're ever in New York City, make sure to check out the Doughnut Project. Stay tuned for the next Disruptors Network.